Let's move on to talk about an interesting situation going on down in Miami, with Jimmy Butler. Over the past few days, the rumor mill has been filled with speculation about his future. You know, will he get traded? Does he want to get traded? Which teams are most likely to A, have interest, and B, have enough stuff to satisfy Miami in an actual transaction? My first question, let's just kick this thing off with, do you think Jimmy will actually get traded before the trade deadline?
Yeah, I do.
You do? Wow.
I do.
I'm kind of surprised to hear such confidence in that answer.
Well, the reason I say it is because I live down here, and I mean, I don't know that that's trying to think of the Heat's track record. It's not necessarily like something that they're known for doing around the deadline, but I had heard from folks last year that are very, very close to the product that they weren't happy with that they weren't happy with the way that the contract things were going. They weren't happy with the conduct, and some of the stuff that goes along with the player. And so that went away a little bit, you know, and I don't see this person all the time. We just run into each other once in a while, and he told me that. And so it's not like I've been keeping a finger on the pulse, but now when this is coming up and they're like, hey, they once it's out there that they'd be willing to do it and stuff, I kind of think it gets done, Michael.
Okay, wow. I would love to see it happen, and I'm not saying it. I'm not discrediting anything you're saying at all. I just think that there's a lot of things logistically that are kind of in the way from who Jimmy Butler is and his personality and how attractive that might be, his contract, his age, all that sort of stuff. Like, how many teams should be interested in trading for
I mean, shit. I mean, like, go ahead, finish describing it.
He's 35. He's about to, by all reports, he has this player option for something like $50 million, and he's going to enter unrestricted free agency, which means, like, okay, if I trade for this guy, I either have to commit a ton of money or I'm going to lose him, and we're going to employ this person for a couple months, up one playoff run, and then who knows? And we gave up picks, or we gave up young talent, or whatever we gave up to get him. And like the list of teams that he is reportedly interested in, and the whole way this has been reported is just so bizarre to me, but Dallas, Houston, Phoenix, Golden State, and a lot of these teams like literally can't trade for him. Like, the rules don't allow it, or it's just so prohibitive. Like Phoenix, it's like, how are you going to get it, Jimmy Butler? Are you going to, like, Bradley Beal has a no trade. I don't know why he would want to go to Miami, and I don't know necessarily that Miami would want Bradley Beal. Doesn't make a lot of sense there. And we can go. I don't really want to go down the line and just like cross out all these teams and tell you why it's impossible. But just like, it's just so weird. It's just a weird situation. So for you to say that you think he's gonna get traded, but that no team should trade for him is funny to hear.
You know what I should have said to that, man? I was trying to be funny. Like I should have said that, like, I know that the Heat, given the opportunity, right, like would probably like just get off of that, like move it if they could, right? But they can't, because of those reasons. You are right, and I am wrong in that it probably won't happen, because no one is giving up what the Heat are going to be asking for. No one's doing that. Like, you know what I mean? So like, you're either gonna say, hey, I'll take anything to get something, that I wouldn't get when he walks away and he's unrestricted, or you're stuck with him. But I know that given the opportunity, they are out of the business. It's just, to your point, man, it's going to be really, really difficult. And no disrespect to Jimmy. Like, if you said he was free, I'd put him on give him to any of those teams that are close to winning a championship. Like, if you told me he was not free, but like not gonna put me in like cap hell or
Right.
strip me.
Yeah.
Like sure, but like at that point, with what he is as a player, is as good as I still think he is. We can't do that.
He just has such little leverage with the team. Like there's okay, I'll opt out. And the team is like, okay, where are you going to sign?
Right.
Who has cap space for you? Like, is Houston going to be that team? It's really tricky for them to open up the cap space. Are the Brooklyn Nets going to be that team? It's like that just makes seeing Brooklyn involved in this is just like, are you guys watching the NBA? Like, I'm not stupid. Like this team is clearly rebuilding. What are we talking about? He's 35. He's like, they're not going to pay him. If they won't even go after Brandon Ingram. Like what? Why? Okay, so it's just so ridiculous. But setting all that aside, I guess like what team would you like to see him get traded to? Because like, what's the most interesting destination here? Pie in the sky, whatever.
Hold on. Let me see something real quick. Give me bear with me. Few teams that would be of interest. I think the Bucks could be really interesting.
I tried to do a fake Bucks trade too. I thought that was
no dice.
Pretty interesting. Well, it's like, what are we doing here? Are we doing Dame for Jimmy?
Yeah.
Like
yeah. I'd also go. I mean, Golden State for sure. Yeah. I'm looking around right now. I mean, I don't know what the Mavs would have to do to get that, but like, it's just right? No, but I mean, you said like,
I know,
like if we're like, but something, yeah, those type of teams.
Okay, I got one for you that I haven't seen reported and talked about. And it's actually a trade that I predicted would happen like 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it's the Denver Nuggets. And I want to see Denver just, go all in on not care about spacing, grab one of the best playoff performers in the league. And the way that they can do that logistically, legally, is build a package around Michael Porter Jr. And that's where, if you're Miami, you're like, no thanks, and then that's it, right? But if you want to get something for Jimmy, I think that's an okay, it's not ideal, but I feel like that could be better than nothing.
Well, yeah, because you're not going to get if you're the Heat, you're not, to your point, you're not getting ideal.
No, you're not. Denver has no picks to offer, so you're not getting anything like that. I don't know how much of their young talent they would be willing to spend here or expend here. But I just think like when I look at Denver, I'm like, can Denver win the title? I'm like, I guess they can win the title. Sure, they have the best player, and he is one of the best players I've ever seen. But I would want insurance if I'm if I'm Denver, like I want this guy's Jokic has never played with an all-star in his career, which is like one of the craziest things. And it's like if Jamal Murray tweaks his hamstring in the first round, our season's all that down the drain. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I would be more aggressive in just trying to make something happen like this, and assuming the risk of Jimmy and assuming the risk of this guy could walk. If I was Denver, I would be like, I don't care if he walks. I want to try to win the title this year. And then, okay, I got off Michael Porter Jr.'s contract with the trade regardless. We have a little bit more financial flexibility, and it's not the end of the world. So that I would love to see that happen. I just think that would be fascinating. I think they would be the clear favorites in the Western Conference to win it all. Maybe the clear favorites in the league, honestly. Like that would be, I don't know, the Celtics I don't want to disrespect the Celtics, but really good team and really tough. And so that's the team. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't hate that. I don't hate it at all. I think we would have to figure out what that does to our style of play in terms of spacing, right? Because so much of what they do is predicated on that. Yeah. So much of what they do is based on that. But I think from what they lack at times, The insurance for sure. Another body, another guy who is capable in those moments, but just from a general, business attitude and toughness perspective and grit and grunt, like I think he would be a good piece to fit into that type of locker room and that type of team. So I don't hate that.
Let's close out this this topic by just looking at the Miami Heat as an organization and whether or not they trade Jimmy, whether or not they re-sign him, whether or not he picks up his player option and he's just there next year and we do this all over again. Like, where is this team going right now? I feel like they're 10-5 in their last 15. That's wonderful, but they're not. They're not a title contender. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a lot of holes on this team, on this roster. They're very inconsistent. I watched them spank the Toronto Raptors last night, and that was great win for them, I guess. But it's just like they're not beating the Celtics in a 7-game series. They're probably not beating the Cavs in a 7-game series. Like, healthy Bucks, are they beating the healthy Bucks? What are they doing? Like, how are they going to reinvent themselves on the fly like they have so many times? Is it even possible, or is this just like the end of the line here?
Yeah, I wouldn't say impossible, only because you've seen Pat and company pull stuff out of, their hat, like that you just didn't really see coming. So I want to give them the benefit of that doubt, but they're in no man's land. Like, they were in no man's land last year.
Yep.
And we talked about it then, and they're still in no man's land, just with the change of the guard as who your number one's going to be, right? Like, so like it's the same thing. You just shuffled who's going to be the primary guy. I personally think you've got Hero, Bam, Jovic, Jaime Jaquez. I don't know if you throw Duncan in there, like whoever, some pieces that you're like, yes, we're good here. Like, this is a good solid. And then it's time to build around that. It's time to figure that out. It's time to, even if it means being bad, even if it means not being, a playoff team for a year, but we're there now as a Heat team. I will give them the credit that they deserve in terms of maybe there's a way out of this that I don't see, but they've been here now for a year and a half, Michael, and I just think you're stuck there to some degree. Like, I guess we're going to wait to see if Tyler Hero, the game we're playing right now, because we know what Bam is. The game we're playing right now is, okay, Tyler Hero is getting better and better. Will he ever be the guy that can do that? Like, and I don't know. I don't have the answer. So that's what we're doing. We're going to wait for a few years to see if that comes to fruition. I don't know. And he could do that on a bad team. Like, if that's the game we want to play, if we want to see how good he can get, well, we can do that on a team that doesn't make the playoffs.
His numbers are really good this year. He just doesn't do it for me. There's something about his game that just doesn't click for, like, maybe it's just the Devin Booker comparisons that I can't shake, where I'm like, you'll never be Devin Booker, Doc. Like, that's just not, I know he didn't make the comparison, so I don't want to be unfair, but that's just, you're not going to be the number one option on a team that's going to the NBA Finals. I don't ever see that as a possibility. And I've seen this team have so much success without him when he's been out with injury. And I also don't think that is necessarily a coincidence. So when they made the trade for Terry Rozier last year, I was like, something went off in my head. Was it, that's trouble. Like, you gave up a first for Terry Rozier, who I like, but is he moving the needle for you? I don't think so. So, I don't know. It's just a weird time for them where they're just kind of hoping Giannis gets upset and wants to play in Miami, or hoping star X Anthony Edwards gets super upset and demands a trade. Like, that's really it right now for them. And I don't know. It's a tough situation. All right,
yeah.
Raja,
My bad. I just think that I agree with everything you said, man. You should. Where they need to be is in stockpiling of picks and accumulation of flexibility with your cap situation, all in an effort to go find that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you got that young nucleus. It's good. Tyler Hero, even to your point, I tend to agree with that. Like 2, 3, but we don't need to be throwing resources at middle of the pack Eastern Conference that prohibits us from doing the things to find that guy.
Agree. Well said. Very well said.